I'm
Rah!
angry about cats.
When did we all get this dumb?
Almost only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and nuclear warfare. I don't see any bodies, so it doesn't count.
I'm angry about cats.
I'm the chef. I want to hear one thing. Yes, chef.
Come on, man. Use your brain.
The Why I'm Angry podcast starts now.
I'm going to go live, though. Oh, it's the Why I'm Angry podcast. Check it out. It's the conspiracy, the tinfoil recovery podcast. We got our tinfoil hats on. We're going to, fight this thing out, and hopefully we will we won't we won't get zapped. We
Represent the Lollipop Guild.
definitely represent the Lollipop Guild. Yes, I'm working on getting some levels here and stuff, and yeah, so here we are.
Mike,
It is the Why I'm Angry podcast. This is the chef. I have Jboots here with me. He is he's representing the Lollipop Guild. We are definitely keeping it real here. Get on our website, whyimangry.com. Get to our merch page, get some merch, keep us in business, keep us afloat. While you're at it, you want the ad-free version. Click on that little $1.25 a month, and you get the ad-free version. And if you want a little bit more, give us $2.58 a month, and we'll send you some info, some things that we're looking at. We'll give you some more areas to look at. There will be some more videos to watch. There's some unproduced, unpublished. Not they were definitely produced.
they were produced.
But they were not published. So get on that. whyimangry.com. It'll take you to our production site and get you there. So it's the chef and Jboots. We are here with our tinfoil hats. Mine is obviously a tinfoil pan because I'm gonna make some mac and cheese and put in this later.
He uses at least 4 cheeses.
Recycle, reduce, and reuse. we are saving the planet here. We are good liberal convoys.
With our powers combined.
Are they gonna actually finish that movie?
That'd be great.
That I don't remember who. Like, there's been
Don
like
Cheadle.
4 producers. Is it Don Cheadle now?
I mean, he was going to do it back in the day.
Oh, okay. I mean, it seems like it should be a decent movie.
Yeah.
Like, as long as someone's stupid, like,
Maybe we get that guy from Hunger Games.
maybe we get like the guys that produce Berenstein Bears or something like that. Then
That's
we'd be
another one of those conspiracy theories.
the Hunger Games guys.
Berenstein Bears.
Oh, yeah, I have heard like something about it, but I've not like I haven't subscribed to that conspiracy yet. So if you haven't figured it out, this is Conspiracy Wednesday. I don't know why it wouldn't be. I mean, if it was Thursday, it'd be Conspiracy Thursday.
Yeah, but Wednesday sounds better.
Wednesday sounds better. So if you are on one of the sites that we can see the comments, get on, give us some comments, set us up. If you talk to us, we'll answer some of your questions. We'll discuss some of your thoughts. I know that one of the guys on said something about Bigfoot being a Nephilim, and I didn't get a chance to see it in time. I've got the comments and reactions set up right here in front of me. So get on, and I'll be able to, at least if you're on, let's see, YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. I can definitely see your comments. I'm gonna get on Rumble here, and yeah, and see about that.
Let's go.
Okay, got it. I'm on Twitch now, so I can see your comments here. I'm gonna have to turn the sound down. Yep, there we go. You can see your comments now. Yeah. So give us comments, and we'll discuss it. I'm gonna take my tinfoil hat off so I can make some mac and cheese later, so it doesn't fall and bust into the mic, and then we have a big in the mic. Plus, it was kind of messing up my green screen a little bit here. So, 4th of July weekend, I figured with 4th of July, there are plenty of conspiracy theories through the country, about the government, about all of the different things that they do to us and for us and with us and all of that. And I thought, hey, what a better time than to bring out the conspiracy theories for, the good old USA. Go America.
I'm keeping myself protected.
Keep yourself protected. They will not fry your brain this way.
Can't get me, Obama.
All right. So,
Yeah. Tin foil is the way to go. It's the way to be, really. It's how I live my life. Just kidding. I'm a normal person. I promise.
so we've got some conspiracy theories. We're going to talk about artificial sun, the Tartarian Empire, and the Great Mud Flood. Princess Diana, 9/11 was an inside job, maybe. Moon landing. We're going to talk. Maybe we're going to get on some Bigfoot. Maybe we'll talk about Tupac, and we're just going to explore it. We're just going to have a free thinking time. We're going to have an open mind, and just walk this out.
Walk it out.
So, oh, Jboots, since
Yeah.
you are the conspiracy
Yeah.
theorist, the extraordinaire. Give us your first one.
Let's talk about iPhones. I'm just kidding. What was my first one here? Oh, the artificial sun.
Artificial sun.
Yeah, that's always a good one. So China, and you're gonna have to let me know what you think, because I really want the feedback from the folks out there on the interwebs more than anything, because I have done my own deep diving, but they're saying that basically with the artificial sun, that China has developed a local sun inside the atmosphere and can basically mask. Now, some people believe our sun is gone, and that we're all surviving off of China's artificial sun that they made. So I don't know. That's pretty much the gist of it. It's
Like, no one, like, has anyone like gotten some like footage? I mean, is there footage of?
so
I'm kind of
there's
starting to like look over it here, but
so there's tons of like footage that people say that they've seen two suns in the sky, and that it's a big rabbit trail to follow it down to China, making their own sun. But yeah, I mean, there's tons of videos. So I mean, I don't know. We're not going to show any videos on here, but and again, these are kind of the fringe topics of conspiracy theories. But like a lot of people think, the sun is. I guess it was prefaced by saying, like when we were kids, the sun was yellow, right? It was a yellow sun, and now they say that our sun is a white sun. So I like depends on what you want to follow, like what you want to get into.
can't that be explained by like the fact that like they're talking about the ozone layer being like depleted and stuff like that, and so you wouldn't have as much white, or you'd have more white coming through. You wouldn't have as much dithering in the light itself,
Yeah.
and so you would have less yellow coming out of the or kind of like the rainbow, how they say how the longest rays and stuff like that. I mean, can't that a little bit be like, okay, there's not as much blocking it,
Right.
So now it's a lot brighter. It's a lot lighter.
More ozone
Yeah, more
pollution and all that.
right.
Yeah.
Less actual ozone and more.
Because like when I was a kid, you would color and you'd make the sun yellow.
True, true. But is that what they're doing? Is we're just on so many drugs that you don't realize that all of the yellow suns were just you coloring the yellow sun, and that you've never really
Never really
actually
looked,
looked at the
you never
sun.
looked at the white sun. Yeah.
Right. You've never like.
That's how you explain it rationally.
Well, I mean, I try to be a semi-rational person that not taking enough drugs to not realize that the sun was
The sun
that was yellow
wasn't.
was just the coloring page.
Yeah. So
That's my thoughts on it.
so for me, that gets into the whole like, did we like? Because people are really big into like, oh, we slipped into a different alternate reality.
Right.
Like because the Mayan calendar ended in 2012. This is getting really hot.
We're in a basement, so you're probably safe.
Yeah. Uh, so like the Mayan calendar ended in 2012, right? And they say that like we didn't end, but all we did was like we shifted realities. And like a lot of people believe that we shifted realities. And like that I have a hard time with because it's like the Bernstein Bears. It was the Berenstein Bears, or now it's the Bernstein Bears, or it's no, it was on the end of it. It was Stein. It was
Yeah, with
Stein
Stein and
versus
the
Stein
Steen.
versus
Yeah.
Stein. And so like because we swapped realities or whatever, we shifted. So that's Bernstein versus Bernstein.
Yeah. So we don't even know that we're actually not alive.
Yeah. Yeah. So
We're
that like
not
the Mayans were right all along and all this stuff. And now China has we live in we live in a black hole and our sun is gone. And so now China has their artificial sun going around for us, saving our crops.
saving the planet. The problem
Because
is
China wants to save the planet.
that I'm seeing on their artificial sun is that they can't sustain the temperature of this, like this nuclear fusion company can't sustain the temperature even even now. Like if they had a sun, you would think that somehow they would be able to replicate the sun a second time, or
Yeah.
that it wouldn't just be like this. Plus, kind of like we talked about last week with the going to the moon, and getting rocks off the backside of the moon, is do we really believe that China has better technology than we do?
Right.
And because I mean, look at what they're selling on,
Right.
Wish, or that, everything that they make. If they were making better than us, you would think that they would, they would have a level, like they would have Wish, obviously, because they're like,
Yeah, it's called Timu. I'm just
yeah,
kidding. I'm
yeah,
just kidding.
which is like New Wish.
Right.
But you would think that they would have a level of like, obviously you'd have your cheap crap,
Right.
because we have like Dollar Tree and all that crap, that everything comes from China or Timu, and which we're not sponsored by, but in any way.
We are not
Verified. But if they, if they want to throw us a couple bucks, we're probably, I don't know. But anyhow,
yeah,
you would think
sustain an
that
artificial?
if they had a level of technology that was higher, that somewhere we would start to see that.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't, like if they were, because of the kind of country they are, they want to have that kind of dominance. They're not hiding dominance from us.
Right. Right.
Um,
Not with them being a dictatorship.
right. They want to show that they are a dominant country.
Yeah.
So
Sustaining 4,000 degrees Kelvin.
right. Well, that
is.
Yeah, it's 100 million degrees. They did a plasma temperatures of 100 million degrees for 48 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, they say that they had it up, but I don't know the validity of this because obviously China closes a lot of their doors, especially on the science.
Well, I mean,
so it's like, how can you validate any of this? And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it right away, because it's like this is supposed to be the fringe conspiracies, but
And yeah, I mean it's like North Korea won the World Cup
right,
and beat the U.S. in the World Cup. Well, for one, you made two lies
right,
that the U.S. could ever get to the World Cup, other than to have it in the
right.
U.S.
Hold it, yeah.
And two, then they said how they beat Germany and Brazil and then beat the U.S.
I
5 to
mean, those are
nothing or
two
something.
tough
Yeah.
teams right there, every year consistently.
So yeah, you can say whatever you want, and you can tell your people whatever you want because um, you have, you control the media and the narrative,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I just wanted to bring that one to light, no pun intended,
right.
because it's so silly. In my head, that one's pretty silly. That China has a sustainable long term plan involving an artificial sun that is not anywhere near.
It's not ready.
It's not near ready. But I mean, I'm sure that might be something that they're experimenting with. But I mean,
Yeah, I
how
mean
many
they're
people
they're
died?
working on it.
How many
I
people
was
died trying to get an artificial sun going?
It was December 2023 is when they said
Yeah.
they tested it,
Oh yeah.
beat
No,
the previous record, and then they said with that fusion reactor they've been able to power roughly 12,000 homes for 48 seconds.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's great.
I think it's great.
48 seconds of power for 12,000 homes.
Yeah.
That's about as good as solar energy over the course of 20 years.
I mean, there's a lot of great intellectual and industrial and technologically driven countries on this planet. I mean, we're not the only innovators on this planet, but it just doesn't make sense. Two and two is still not equaling four in my head for China's artificial sun. Especially long term.
And that's not to say like China like can't go past us or can't become a bigger, a more producing country a more innovative country.
Right.
Um
I wish I had the inside scoop on this. Like, I wish I had an inlet to China. I wish I had a guy who could tell me more about this artificial sun. But I mean,
right.
people are reporting that they do see, like, at twilight or at dawn or dusk or whatever, they see two suns. So it's like, you tell me what you think. I would love to entertain it, just to have the conversation, like,
Right.
and that's all over the world. That's not just in China. That's not just in America. Like, people are all over the world saying that they see two suns. And so I don't know. Let
It's
me know.
not the moon and the sun.
It's not the moon and the sun, because they'll say the moon's over there and then there's two suns
I
over here.
mean, people start drinking at 5.
Yeah. So, uh,
Noon at some point.
so I don't know. I'm not backing. By no means am I backing this up.
Right.
I'm not on China's side, but I just want to talk about it for a second.
Yeah. It's a solid
Yeah.
starter.
Yeah.
Solid starter.
Yeah.
So Tartarian Empire.
That's a good one.
What's the scoop on that?
So that starts. That's if you Google that, it's going to say it's a pseudoscience group of believers that are conspiracy theories that believe that the Tartarian Empire came from parts of Russia and Asia, originated over yonder, and that it kind of came across into the States. I mean, this is like a whole big thing. Like, there was this whole secret empire that was buried and no one knows about, because not only was it physically buried with mud, but it was like stricken from the history books because of the technological advances that they had. It's kind of like thinking about the Atlanteans, and how we kind of give that a little bit. Sometimes we pause and we give credit to the Atlanteans and Atlantis, and, oh, is there a secret society underground and all this stuff, or under the ocean, I should say. And so the Tartarians is one of those things that you can think about that existed in a faraway land. But yeah, it was this predominant agriculture. They had great architecture, all kinds of stuff that was just wiped away by these what they call these mud floods. And like, there's a lot of evidence where you'll see if you guys Google Tartarian and the Great Mud Flood. So the Great Mud Flood covers a lot more than just the Tartarian Empire, but it covers like why certain buildings were designed certain ways, and then all this stuff. Like the architecture is very different because they find architecture. So they're finding architecture buildings from the same time period in different countries, but they're built the exact same way. So you're like, oh, so some of this was in the States here, and then some of this was overseas in Russia, um, and Asia, and even a little bit into India, up in the top part of India. So it's fascinating stuff to look into.
So then, is there historical data that at least backs up the mud floods themselves, or is that still part of that pseudo historical society
So
science?
a lot of people say
Nope.
there is, um, like, but I mean areas flood, right? So you have mud and you have flooding because it rains.
Right.
So it's like, what are you classifying as a great mud flood? I mean, some scientists have said that they found, remnants from the Great Flood from Genesis, but other people are saying that was the Tartarian mud flood, and that, and some people say it's both. Like it was like God that wiped out, um, like the story in Genesis, or it was, and then like the mud was a byproduct of like what was left over from the Great Flood. So it really depends on what you get into, like which rabbit hole do you want to follow.
Okay. So then you would say the civilization at that point, because of the Nephilim and the intelligence that was being added to humans and stuff like that, was then creating this society that was more advanced than we are today.
Yeah, yeah. Because like a lot of people, because from like Sunday school, like a lot of people think that people back then from the Book of Genesis, they lived in like mud huts and stuff, and there's a theory out there that suggests that uh, they had more advanced infrastructure in the time of Genesis than just like a king living in a palace, marble and stone, and then everyone else was just kind of in like mud huts.
Right. Right. Which like could make sense, because I mean, you don't know how long Genesis was.
Right.
I mean, people were living 900 years and stuff like that, and things like that. So, 2-3 generations could be, anywhere from, you know, I mean, it could be 400 or 500 years,
Right.
100, and so, even if science is saying, and this is me going, if science is saying that the Earth is 1,000,000 years old, well, we don't know how long
Right.
day 1 was, day 2 was, day 3, because the Bible does say that his day is a 1,000 years. His
1,000 years is a day.
his hour is 1,000 day, whatever.
Right.
And so, our concept of time, that really wasn't actually a construct of time, or a measurement of time, until
The Romans.
right. I was gonna say it was the Romans or Greeks.
Well, I mean, we use the Romans. So
Right.
right.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so you know, that being said, then our construct of time then is just what we made up,
Yeah.
and then what we all accepted, which is kind of like when you start to look at other science type things, then you realize why do we accept these things then?
Right.
Why do we care that if there's 24 hours in a day, or if there's 22 hours in a day,
Right.
or if an hour is actually an hour, or
Some
we
construct of
just we call it an hour, it could actually be a spoondle.
right.
And we could just call it that instead, and we have then spoons and spoons and
Yeah.
things of that nature as minutes and seconds, and just because of our
Yeah.
the way we wanted to talk, this is what it is.
Yeah. Just because someone measures something one way by one metric doesn't mean that the whole rest of the world goes by that.
Europe.
Europe. I'm looking at you.
Um,
Looking at you, Europe. Alienating an entire continent.
I
It's
mean,
what I do.
so, but yeah, so I can see.
But some of these people they're not getting the biblical or the spiritual side of it, and so they're filtering it through just a purely scientific and mathematical lens, and that's fine, and you can totally do that because I don't tell anyone not to do that. um but if you know what you know about Genesis and you compare, because every culture on this planet will tell you a story about a great flood. Every culture, I'll say it again, every culture on this planet will tell you a story about a great flood that wiped the earth.
Right.
So the Chinese do it. A lot of these major influential cultures and countries will tell you a great story about a great flood.
Right.
So is that the Tartarian Empire that we're covering up, or are we covering up Atlantis? Like are we covering up Tartaria with Atlantis? Like we're going to give them this, but we're not going to give them this.
Right.
So it's like there's no evidence. There's not a lot of evidence for Atlantis, but there's not a lot of evidence for um, Tartaria either. So
Right.
yeah, it's like what is being stricken from the
Well, and I
from the
will
history books.
I will say, even in the fact that um even with the Bible, and I believe the Bible is got a great amount of history, and is like the Old Testament was accepted, even mostly before Jesus had come and everything, and that was the Bible at the time. um but at that same point, what it was accepted into the Bible and things like that, we believe that God inspired that.
Yeah,
And so, but at that point, there's also a few books around their history and things like that that you can gain a little more knowledge, and those actually support even as much the history of like you said, there was a flood,
yeah,
and it's hard to say that, you know, and we say it the right way. There was a flood of biblical proportion,
yeah, for
you
sure,
know,
absolutely.
and so whether it was the mud floods, or it was, the actual flood, and that was part of, what it was, and like you alluded to it without really keying in on it, that and we kind of talked about it in the pre, you know, there was architecture from, that same style of architecture in different areas all over the world,
Hmm.
that you at that point you would have thought, like, now, if you see architecture from Rome in the US, whatever,
Right,
because we can be in Rome in 8 hours
right,
or 7 hours depending on where you're flying out of,
yeah,
or 10 hour, whatever, in a day.
right,
And so you can copy that kind of architecture. At that time, unless you believe they had planes and cars and teleportation devices and
It was hard to
they
reproduce
could
that.
right,
Yeah.
right. And that's where I was going with it, is that, you know, unless they were reproducing that um at a high scale, you
Yeah.
you weren't
Yeah.
that
It
wasn't
was. It wasn't feasible. It
right.
definitely wasn't. I don't think it was workable. But yeah, I mean so like I said, I always just encourage people to do their own research because like I could really unleash some craziness.
Which
And
I
I'm live on Facebook, so it's pretty official. But I don't want to go too crazy.
Wh- which I think we can do some of that craziness. I don't have any problem. And like I said, this is one of those deals where it's a free thinking exercise.
Yeah.
As much as it's let's go crazy and tell what we believe,
Yeah.
and but it's not a, cram it down your throat. You have to
Yeah.
believe this,
Yeah. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
if you don't believe this, then we're not friends, or you don't, we can't
Well, that's why I came into this with a little trepidation, just because it was like, just because it is something that really will make you think sometimes, because the way that we interpret the book of Genesis is from a very Americanized way of understanding.
Well, and we look at, a lot of times we start to look at the Bible even as just a story of a book of fables,
Yeah.
a book of great stories that happened or didn't happen, but will teach you a lesson.
Yeah.
When really it is, it's a book of our Christian heritage,
Right.
the world's heritage,
Right.
whether you're Christian or not. um this is where it all started.
Yeah.
And whether this epic flood, and we were talking about it, this epic flood happened, and then, you know if you can rectify it all together by saying the reason those buildings are all over the world, and I guess this is where I was going, and because of ADHD I rabbit holed off of something else, and
Yeah.
then I tried to check the
Thanks.
audio, and then you started talking about something and go at making a good point. And so this is why free thinking and open thought doesn't work if you don't have some kind of construct, like we're going to talk about conspiracies or history
Right.
or something like that. And so, but you can put it all together by saying, okay, there was a great flood, then the people built Tower of Babel,
Yeah.
and then God spread all of those people all over the world with
Yeah.
different languages and different, and
Ways of
they
going about
yeah,
it.
and just
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
different thoughts, and made confusion so that everybody kind of did their thing.
Right.
And so with that happening, then you've got Pangea breaking up, the world breaking up. You can
Yeah.
say that this is, and I don't know, I say Pangea for the lack of a better term,
Yeah.
because that's kind of the accepted kind of model
Yeah. And
that we had.
I'm gonna get crushed for saying this, but carbon-14 dating has been discredited because yeah, they've proven that you can't go on the Earth isn't hundreds of millions of years old, um, and that's that the mainstream science is gonna like, how dare you
Well,
come
and
at
that's
me?
why I said, if you go by the accepted age, you don't
Right.
know
Yeah.
honestly, how long that first day and those
Right.
kind of things.
Yeah.
So if it were, it's accepted by the Bible.
Right.
If it is, if it could be that old,
Right.
it's because there was time that we didn't talk about, that there's ages and
Yeah.
and generations that maybe weren't exciting or didn't
Yeah.
have any bearing on God's plan, or
Yeah.
and then, not that they didn't have a bearing on God's plan, but they weren't a group, or maybe we don't even know about them.
Yeah.
Maybe we haven't found their history. The Dead Sea Scrolls haven't popped up of their existence, or anything like that. So,
Yep.
but yeah, I don't believe the whole, like, the whole science of carbon-14 dating doesn't seem real.
Yeah,
Like,
legit. Like,
I mean,
yeah,
not to say like
because how
it's not, you're not real, or
Right.
something, not to be one of those guys,
right?
but the science behind it just seems like a bunch of
I mean, how do you get that a fossil is? I mean, because they were saying back in the '90s, carbon-14 dating was so popular that, like, I mean, they were getting fossils down to the exact day,
right,
and I'm like, how are you getting that? Like, how
right.
do you? Oh, you found this, troglodyte or whatever. That's
Right.
that's not a thing. That's an insult. Sorry. Uh, what's the thing I'm thinking of?
Uh,
Anyway,
anything.
you find a shell.
Pterodactyl. You
Yeah,
found this.
yeah. You find
scarab.
anything, right? And
You
then,
found, yeah,
yes. I don't know. So anyway, just yeah. I'm like, how do you get to that exact? How do you get it down to the exact day like that? Like the exact.
right. No, and that's it. But it seemed like it was more theoretical. The science is more theoretical based on, if we can make this assumption.
Yeah.
Well, we can make that assumption all day long. It
Right.
doesn't make it a
Yeah,
truth.
because you put
And
that in your
we've
thesis doesn't mean
right, and
doesn't make it right.
we've made that, because we've made that assumption, we've made it a truth in
Right.
our dating process.
Yeah.
And so that's where, not that I'm theoretical scientist or anything like
Right.
that, but I do have half a brain at least.
Yeah.
Still. And I mean, the other I probably fried and it's twinkified or something like that.
Fell into a deep fryer one time.
Yeah. And whatever. But with the half a brain I actually have and use, um, that makes sense. Just and I guess that's kind of where we're at with this, is we're not trying to like proselytize any of this pseudoscience, or
Yeah.
pseudo history, or anything like that.
Yeah.
We're just giving you the um I just banned an ad. We're just giving you our thoughts on whether this could be plausible, whether
Right.
this has any backing in history
Yeah.
or science. Because that's what I asked. That's if I'm going to think about it, I'm going to want to see some kind of evidence that makes it feel like this could be plausible.
Yeah.
And then we can go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have any evidence. I'm hoping that everyone out there understands. Like, here's not like a tray of,
Right. This isn't like we're not out there
here's a tray of evidence. Like,
doing the actual like
I would love to be able to prove to you that
archaeological dig.
Princess Diane was killed. Yeah, and it wasn't just a car accident. It was
Right.
malicious.
Or something, not just stupid.
Yeah, I mean, like, I would love to be. Oh yeah, here's the. I don't have a facts sheet of proof of her murder. Um, I don't. But I just I stopped believing in conspiracy or coincidences years ago. I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe they happen. Um, so I believe there's a reason for everything. So even if it's hard to understand or for us to get our heads around, I believe there's a real reason for everything.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I can't say that there isn't. I can say that I don't believe in as many coincidences as they try to push down our throats.
Yeah.
I mean, after the second whistleblower or third whistleblower gets killed, or
Usually
dies,
there's three. Usually it takes two or three.
You go,
Yeah.
that seems convenient.
Right. Yeah.
That seems highly coincidental.
Yeah.
So maybe not so coincidental.
Well, when you take the notion that the love of money is the root of all evil,
Right.
and you add that with the fact that people love money, I just stopped believing in. I mean, there are crimes of passion.
But
The spouses do kill their other spouse in the heat of a moment, in the heat of passion. Other than that, it's most major crimes are committed for money, for financial reasons.
for money,
So
power.
or power. So that was the other one I was going to say was power and money. So like when you only factor in those three major things like crime of passion, money, and power, coincidences are kind of out the window. Because if you follow the thread long enough, you can get to the root of the issue. So, and it's going to be one of those three things.
Right. That's why I said even last week, and I was just catching Jboots up on a little bit of what we talked about after the conspiracy theory, kind of half conspiracy theory podcast last week that inspired this one. Like I came on and did a debate kind of recap, and that's what I said is the biggest mistake that the the constitutional framers made was to not limit the length of time they had power.
Yep. For Congress.
Like they did everything else great. They limited the power, they limited this. But the problem is when you don't limit the power,
Yep.
then that power becomes limitless because it hasn't been limited by a certain amount of time. You now can hold this power forever and you can create more power out of it and things of that nature. And so, I think I think like you said, as much as it is for just, financial gain, I think that financial gain also equals out to be your ability to gain power.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's power over someone else or whether it's power over your destiny or your ability to get to live the life that you want to live.
Right.
So,
and there's nothing inherently wrong with having a good life, but there's a certain point where you cross a threshold of lust for power, lust for money. Dealing with the pride of life is an issue that blinds people a lot. So it's like are you looking at this practically, or are you looking at a situation through some sort of filtered lens?
right.
What did I want to say about? Oh yeah, Diana. Oh yeah, she was totally murdered.
So yeah. So we're gonna move on to
Sorry, I was looking
I
at my
think
notes.
if you've got any questions or you got anything that you want to say about any certain area and you don't get it on our podcast or on our live cast right now, obviously with the podcast you can always send all your questions to whyimangrypodcast at gmail.com. You can contact us on whyimangry.com.
Yep.
Or you can just comment right onto the live feed if you're watching this later. And we'll just, I get those comments straight to me. And we'll start to, build them up. And as we go through other shows, we'll answer questions or we'll talk about them ourselves. And like I said, we're not the experts here.
No.
We're just free thinking through this. So we're just, you know, and that's honestly what we want you to do with everything in your life. Just free think through it.
Right.
Just decide whether, you know, it has any merit and whether it really like in the next level, should I continue to think about this?
Right.
You know,
And we're all busy, and we all have to get to soccer practice, and someone has to be making a meatloaf around here. So like we're all busy, and I get that.
right.
But like I guess I maybe I eat too many carbs because um, I used to work in a profession where I had a lot of time to think about stuff, and I took up magic, and now I can do card tricks and sit around and read the Bible and sit around and look up conspiracy theories. So, I'm now in a new job where I don't have that luxury, but that's all right. Um, I had a lot of time to deep dive, so I understand people not deep diving, and I understand that people have like a normal brain. So I'm not trying to discredit myself, but I just have, like I said, one too many macaroni and cheeses.
At the same time, I feel like the more that we stay sharp, the more that we kind of follow our
Yeah.
likes and dislikes, and kind of continue to think about things, the better we are, the more educated we are, the more well-rounded we are. I mean, I'm going to go there for half a second. Those people who watched the debate and realized that Biden was physically slipping
Yes. Yeah.
for the first time, those people are idiots.
Yeah.
Those people are blind. Those people haven't been paying attention.
Three
They
and a half
don't
years in.
see the end of their nose.
Right. 3.5 years into his presidency.
Like, he fell up the stairs in an airplane, which anybody can fall. He fell off a bike.
Yeah. That was already stopped.
He he doesn't finish sentences
Yeah.
well, or sometimes at all.
At all. Yeah.
I still don't know where he was going with Medicare
Right.
on that first question.
Yeah.
Because
It was exciting. I was on pins and needles.
because I didn't remember that as part of the question.
What was yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
like we're just really what we want to get across here is just to, educate yourself. Think about this. And I even said last week, if you're just listening to me for your information, then you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Like I'm a fairly intelligent person, but you need to educate yourself so it's yours.
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't be everyone's gopher for conspiracy theories. And I don't normally have a problem helping people understand some things, but it comes down to your convictions, like, and do you have time to get into it? Like,
Right. And conspiracy wise, I mean, I understand, you may not even care about, and in the end of things, what does it really matter?
what does it really, and that's what I struggle with, is like, what does it really matter? Because I firmly believe in the entire Bible. So in my head, I'm like, what does it really matter?
Right.
I mean, from Genesis to Revelations, I'm like, yep, it's pretty much all true. It's all true. So the book of Revelation, I'm like, well, what does this matter? Like, but that's just
So Princess Diana died
she gone.
25 years ago or so.
She rest in peace.
27 years ago now.
If you don't remember, she was killed in an auto accident in a tunnel, and I believe it was in France. Paris, I believe it was Paris. Paris, France.
Let's see where it was.
I think the official story was that she was being chased. Paris,
Yeah.
She was. I think the official story was she was being chased
By paparazzi.
and the driver was speeding, and there was something in the tunnel.
Driver might have been under the influence of
Might
alcohol.
might have been under the influence of alcohol. Yep. So she was killed. In a
Killed her. Killed
Yeah.
producer. They think boyfriend.
Mhm.
Maybe baby daddy.
Yeah.
Maybe
Obviously, she was a member of the British royal
maybe
family.
the future husband of Princess Diana,
And
if she were to divorce
Old Chuck.
Prince Charles.
Yeah. Chucky Poo.
Old Prince Chucky.
Yeah. Well,
just and these are all some of the kind of angles of why they would actually kill her, as opposed to just like this is a coincidence.
I mean, she was a great philanthropist.
She kind of bucked the system.
She kind of rubbed the system the wrong way. People didn't like that. She kind of exposed some things about certain rings of pedophilia. So she was snuffed out, I think. And we can start with Princess Diana, but we could also get into Kobe Bryant, Paul Walker, a lot of these other guys.
Tupac Shakur.
Tupac. They say he was on. They said it was gang related. And then it was like, oh, it was his best friend that did it, and all this stuff. It was like, what do you believe? But the whole thing is basically to cover up
something.
So I believe. Just a quick note on her. I believe that she was killed for the pedo rings that she discovered and was trying to get out, just like these other cats were. So,
believe in the pedophile rings.
Yep.
So that's a solid point, because, and this is the part that, like, that's the one that probably makes the most sense because they want to they at the same time, if there's a conspiracy theory that's right, there's like 7 conspiracy theories that's wrong,
Sure.
and most of them are being pushed out by the people who want to hide the one that's right, obviously.
Right.
Kind of like the JFK assassination. You know, obviously the magic bullet is the one that's right, and you know, all these other ones are the wrong ones. But you know, with her,
Clearly.
if you look at, okay, you've got pedophile rings that are making celebrities thousands and thousands, you know, millions of dollars.
Yep.
And they're, you know, they, if they were to be exposed, life over.
Yeah. I mean,
Not just career over. You know, it's time to go to jail time.
yeah.
You know, it's I can't believe you're a monster time.
Yeah.
It's no family, no friends, no, you know.
And back when she died, I mean, we didn't have the telecommunications we have now.
Right. So it's a ton easier to hide this stuff.
Back then, yeah.
And you can even see with like even with Epstein's Island and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
how long was that there before we really
Right.
knew about it? How long
gr-
was he doing that?
What's great is Disney just bought it and they're
Yeah.
going to turn it into a kids' playland. Full circle.
Yeah.
Too soon? Too soon.
Coincidence?
Just
Now I'm attacking Disney.
Just got to kill one man.
That's like,
but so that one does make the most sense. Oh wow. The most sense because no one cares that she rose in power.
True.
That her popularity was great.
Yeah, like
that she was going to lead. Yeah,
the world loved her.
Right.
The world loved her.
Obviously, if the monarchy was so worried about it, if she left the monarchy,
what did she know
about to, you know, if she was going to leave to go marry whoever or whatever,
yeah,
then yes, that's a blight on the monarchy. But at the same time, because of her popularity, both would have separated and both probably would have been polarized to wherever they needed to be.
Yeah.
And neither of them were going down.
Right.
Not as bad as what they look like right now.
Right.
But you know, so that now that if they killed her, you know, this has become this whole thing, and now it just looks like one more shady event.
Yeah.
And if you thought about that ahead of time, you know, you wouldn't have probably killed her in a car crash.
Right.
Like maybe, you know.
But it was the 90s and drinking was the cool thing to do, and
right.
You know.
Right.
And the drugs would have been too much. If it was a coke problem.
But I still think like you know, like maybe she had a bad surgery.
They lobbed the pitch,
or
and it was just alcohol, and it was
maybe
like
she just
grand slam.
Maybe she just didn't recover from the surgery.
Yeah.
Or you know, that doesn't sound too familiar, does it?
Right. Not at all.
Maybe they just altered a few photos.
Yeah.
Maybe they just don't know what's going on yet.
Right. Well, the doctors are trying.
So, but yeah, so you know, if you look at it, the pedophile ring probably makes the most sense, and that's like in this exercise, that's what we're looking at.
And I have a hard time not seeing it because of everything else that goes on in this world that alludes to that. Yeah.
So, oh, Jboots.
Please don't be fooled. Yes, Mom.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I just don't see like where, you know, I see where that one is got to be is you know.
Yeah.
Because that's a worldwide event.
Oh, it shut down the world.
Yeah, like
when she died, yeah, we all stopped.
Well, I was why I was listening to Casey Kasem. I remember the time, like what it was. I was like 15.
May he rest in peace.
Right. I was like 15, 16, and sitting at the table doing, you know, playing a video game or something, listen to the top 40,
Mhm.
and found that out. And but at the same point, you know, that just the fact, honestly, I don't feel like Taken is that far off. Like the depiction they have
Yeah.
of the like girls standing
Yeah.
in the middle of a ring and being auctioned off.
Yeah. 100% correct.
Obviously, if we can think of it
100%
for
correct.
a movie,
Yeah.
it's happening.
So,
And
yeah.
probably worse.
Oh, for much worse. Yeah, those girls in that movie had it easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Talk about the Asian girls that are being
Exploited. Yeah.
slaverized.
Yeah, that's crazy to me to think that you know. Yeah. Yeah, I remember vividly 2 times in my life where the world stopped spinning, and it was when Princess Diana died, and it was 9/11,
Right.
and it was like, and I know I was a little younger back then, but it was like it was so important to everyone else that 4,000 people died on 9/11, and then Princess Diana died, uh, obviously before that, but you know what I mean, like
Right.
the world stopped.
97, a few years before that.
Yeah,
But
the world stopped for those two major things. So it was like maybe we should look into this.
right.
But that's been my thinking the whole time. It's like maybe we should think about this differently.
So we talked about 9/11 being the inside job.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
A lot of people think it was the Bushes. A lot of people think that inside 9/11 was, and there's been so much spin-off from the 9/11 that your head will spin from just going off of all this 9/11
Well,
stuff.
that's why I wanted to, like, if it's an inside job, if it's conspiracy, why?
So there's the lost footage. The one that got me right away was the lost footage. It was showed on the day of um, the airplane that hit the Pentagon. Uh, wasn't an airplane; it was a missile. And there's lost footage they showed only that day, and then was scrubbed from all media. There was no airplane wreckage at the Pentagon. There was no airplane parts, nothing, not a wing, an engine, nothing. But yet they told you that an airplane hit the Pentagon.
Which at that time we believed the news
Yeah, that time we believe the news.
because the news at that time had no reason to lie to us.
And so a lot of these New Yorkers were conveniently killed. And I know I get to sit here in a nice comfy chair and say this, and I wasn't there in New York on 9/11, but there was a lot of New Yorkers that lived through 9/11 that said a completely different narrative than two airplanes hitting a tower, respectively. They said that there was only an explosion. There were no airplanes. That the video that you're seeing, they obviously added in a CGI'd airplane into a building, and that they started a demolition. There was reports of people um, reporting seeing explosives in stairwells, all kinds of stuff. That when they imploded the buildings, that it started halfway, and then the rest, obviously the rest of it dropped. So it's like, sure, that can be doctored and altered too. Um, but these people that survived on 9/11 that were nowhere near ground zero were all snuffed out, conveniently all snuffed out. And like a lot of reports of these firefighters that died on 9/11 were from outside the boroughs that had come in and were not the initial first responders, but they were like the second wave of first responders that were coming in. And these firefighters that lived 9/11, and all of a sudden that they're snuffed out, they're dead. And you're like, wait a minute, why? What?
Right.
I mean, the buildings had dropped.
And nothing to like discount their heroism.
Right.
They
Yeah, yeah. Oh
they
no,
were
God, no.
heroes
Oh,
running
yeah.
in to
Oh, yeah.
save people's lives. It's just the fact of what what you question is So if you think it's the Bushes, then it's not just the Bushes; it's the five
It's the
heads,
five major families.
five major
Yeah.
families.
He just
it's the
happened to
five
be
heads
he
of
just happened to be in
the
power
world.
that on that. Yeah.
And so, yeah, you basically you just take it that, because he was in power at that time, he resided over it.
Yeah.
And like I lived through it in a way that, like, I wasn't in Ohio at the time.
Yeah.
I was actually in college, in Pittsburgh, and one of our chefs, the plane that was taken down, um, was, and this is where it gets hard to really know what to believe, because there was a plane taken down, or a missile, or something that was taken down.
Yeah.
Um, and it was off the back of his property. He fed the TSA, the investigators, and the FBI and all of that. Um, we actually didn't see him for a week after 9/11, and I thought, well, what happened to him? Because you know, he traveled everywhere, all over the world and stuff like that,
Right.
and there was a plane that was, or whatever, was taken down, near where he had a restaurant and things of that nature. So
Yeah.
we're like, it was he was out hunting or something and was killed or something.
Yeah.
No one even knows where he's gone, but
Yeah.
come to find out, he was just, he was trying to do his civic duty, his patriotic duty, and feed.
Right.
Come to find out that he donated, like, all this food from his restaurant, and cooked all these great meals and everything, and the Red Cross then charged all of these FBI and TSA members and everything like that, like $5 or $10 a plate, and he's like, it was worth a ton more than $5 or $10 a plate. I was, like, out there making,
Yeah.
croquettes and all this stuff for him,
Yeah.
and so, um, he ended up getting a Bush letter,
Oh.
thanking him for
Yeah.
his patriotic duty and all that. So
So like a lot of people think that Bush was just a puppet in it,
right,
but he allowed it, and then Osama bin Laden, obviously he was the guy that we had to get, and we did conveniently get him under Obama's watch. But it's all just kind of like I said, can't prove any of it.
but and you could almost see where the way things have gone, and this was one of the things that I was going to talk about in the next couple election updates, or whatever we talk about. But you can see where the president doesn't seem like he's the one in control.
Right. Yeah.
And it's not just it probably wasn't Reagan, but you can see how JFK could have been. Okay. Yeah, you can see how JFK could have been kind of in the mix of being, like, under some kind of control. You can see how we, if you look at Bush, or you look at Obama, or even the Clintons, especially the Clintons, now that kind of about the Clinton Foundation and some things like that. Um, that there is more to a single president's control than, we just elect a president, and he just sits there and he makes all the decisions, and he's the most powerful man in the world, and all of that. And it's something I even said the other day, is if we're electing the most powerful man in the world, and you're not electing the best person for that, you're not voting for the best person for that, you're an idiot, you're stupid. You need to, like, rethink your thoughts on who you want to elect for it. That this is the most powerful job in the country, and you're putting someone in this job who isn't as smart as he used to be, who doesn't debate as well as he used to be, who doesn't walk as well as he used to be, Obviously, he doesn't ride a bike as well as he used to, or walk upstairs. Like, this guy doesn't, like, whoever it is, even if it's Trump, the guy's now 80 some years old, or he will be 80 some years old by the end of his election cycle. It Not that he's not super sharp or very intelligent, or he still doesn't have all his wits about him, or he has got the great wisdom, but we can't find a 60 or 70-year-old that maybe is in his prime, like one of these business owners, maybe one of these generals coming out. I mean, that's why we used to elect generals. That's why it's a used to elect generals.
Right.
Because generals, they see the big picture. They normally have patriotic duty built into them.
Yeah.
And they're not going to like follow the conspiracy.
Right.
They're not going to follow the lead if it doesn't give the United States or their country a level of strength and stability.
Yeah.
Like, they see that their duty is to give the people of the country a level of security. There isn't that. There's no duty to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, just just the fact that he said it, that he doesn't debate as well as he used to, and blah blah blah, should disqualify him from even being president. Like, we should not be electing someone who is not as good as they once were.
Right.
You know, it's a great song, it's funny as heck,
Right.
but it's not our president.
Well, this is pretty serious stuff we're talking
Yeah,
about.
it shouldn't be our president.
Right.
You know, we should have a president, honestly and sadly, that, you know, could beat Putin up in a fight.
Right.
You know, if
If it actually came down to that.
here's the deal, if Eisenhower, when he was president, came up against Putin when he became president,
Eisenhower would
Eisenhower
clean his
would have
clock.
kicked him in the face,
Yeah.
eaten a sandwich while sitting on his
Yeah.
stomach, and then punched him again just for
Yeah.
good measure.
Yeah. And I think Roosevelt would have done the same thing.
Roosevelt would have done the same thing while riding a horse.
Yeah. Or moose.
Or moose.
Yeah.
Or fighting a bear
Whatever you have to ride.
at the same time.
Yeah.
Depending on which Roosevelt you're talking about.
Yeah, not the
Not the
World War II one.
Right. Teddy,
Teddy.
the real Roosevelt.
The one that we named the teddy bear after.
No, it's not Delano.
Yeah. Franklin.
Not the FDR one.
Yeah.
That dude started this whole thing. Well,
Well,
not started it, but he continued it on.
yeah, he pushed big.
So, but that's what I'm saying. When we get into this, it's not, and honestly, because the president doesn't wield the power he used to, because the president could, but because the president is a puppet, what we really are looking at as the most powerful people in the country is Congress.
Yeah. I've been saying that for years.
Judges, we are able to control how a judge is put into office, and how, you know, unless it's a local judge and we elect a local
You vote him
civic
in.
judge.
Right.
And so but I feel like we do need to take more time to actually like think about what, you know, when we're voting for those local judges, sometimes we only have, you know, one option, and which is sad that we should, you know, we're a country of 300 million people, 200 and some million voting or driving age people,
Right.
working age people. So most of those people can obviously vote. You know, some dead voting age people also. But, you know, with that being said, you know, we need to start looking at who we're actually casting that vote for.
Right.
You know, and I mean, obviously, fortunately, in Ohio, we have some decent prospects, and we've had some decent people to vote for. But you know, when it comes down to it, you know, we the people who actually do more, that affects more of our lives, is Congress.
Yes, on the day-to-day. Yep.
So Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know where we got on that rabbit hood, or rabbit trail,
Well,
bunny
it
trail.
needed to be said.
But with the 9/11 stuff, I mean, if it was an inside job at the time, you can see, we can follow the power, like you said.
Yeah.
The country was having issues. We were going into a recession. We had the bubble burst, for the tech bubble burst at that time.
Yeah.
You were a little younger, but I was in college, and so I kind of saw the whole, like, Google and all of that go down.
Yeah.
Um, and I was actually doing a stock market type game, kind of a school project type thing when everything crashed. And when it crashed, like, we were playing with about $100,000, just not real money, just monopoly money, basically. And most of the guys in the group, um, they weren't very diversified. They were going for it all, and they learned the lesson: when you go for it all, sometimes it all goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all falls out from under you.
Yeah.
And some of these guys were worth $500,000, $600,000, $700,000.
Well, look at Enron.
Well, and that was during that same
Yeah.
time period.
Yep.
And when Google and all of that, when the tech bubble burst, Google went from like $150 to $25
Right.
within a couple days. And those guys couldn't get out of their stock holdings fast enough, and went from $600,000 in their cash to 25, 10.
Right. Put all their money in
And
Netscape.
yeah, you just end up, Napster.
Napster.
And just there it went.
Yeah.
And we learned, and that's honestly what you should have done. What we should have done is learn.
Yeah.
That it was a teaching game. It was a school project game, and we should have learned that this is the case. You put everything in one basket, and boom, you're done. But
And parallels can be made for the real financial district that took a hit on 9/11 as well.
and that's I guess that's where I was going with it, is that at that same time, all of that was going down. We needed something to band the country together.
Yeah.
What's better than a war
Right.
to resuscitate the economy? There are conspiracy theories that say that World War II was created to get us out of the Great Depression.
Right.
And we came in late because we were building back up. We talk about the recession and how bad 2008 was, and things of that nature. That wasn't
It wasn't a thing.
that wasn't bad.
It wasn't the depression from 1933.
Right, 1928, yeah, when
Yeah.
people were jumping out of their buildings.
Right.
We're falling, we're going, we're
They're actually losing their minds.
They were losing their health, their lives and their homes.
Yeah.
And at that time, they were getting ready to go to debtor's prison.
Yeah.
Because that was a thing.
Yeah.
And people had just leveraged everything. But we're at the point in America again that we didn't learn our lesson. We're still leveraged on everything.
Mm-hmm.
We're, and so with that being said, at 9/11, what better reason?
Right.
Let's go to war.
Yep.
We say, oh, it wasn't, World War II wasn't a war for the economy, because we didn't get into it till 43, 40, 45 or
Right.
whatever, or 41, 40 or 41.
Yeah, 41 to 45.
We didn't get into it till then. Yeah, but we were still creating ammunition for the Allies.
Oh yeah.
Back in 30.
Yeah.
Back in 30, 34,
Yeah.
35, when everybody was, fighting.
Yeah. Everyone was still on edge from the First World War.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which can be said that may have, may have been because, we wanted to, bolster our economy on that too.
Yeah, I mean, there was only like 10, 12-year difference.
Right.
I mean, that's not financially. That's not that much time.
But you know,
Yeah.
so like I said, you can see that, the actual, if you track down the power, track down the money,
Yep.
you can see there
All,
there
yeah.
it's all there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's so much for 9/11. It's not even funny, but like it really isn't funny at all. But yeah, I don't believe. I mean, Osama bin Laden was on dialysis. Like he had kidney issues, so he wasn't hiding in caves like they think he was. And our our teams are not that stupid. I mean, we knew where he was. It was about getting him out at an opportune time.
right,
So yeah, he he needed treatment every 6 weeks. You need dialysis
right,
treatment.
right.
Like he wasn't hiding in caves in the mountainous regions of Iraq or Iran or Afghanistan or wherever he was. So I mean, sure, maybe he sent them some of his troops a ham for Thanksgiving, but you know, he was
I mean, he made a convenient target because he had been part of a previous attack.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, they called him the mastermind of 9/11,
again, if you believe it.
if you believe.
But he had been part of, and I remember, the van that was there that blew up in '93. That
He took
you know,
he took credit for it.
right.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, those thermal
Goggles.
dynamics that you know that melted half of the building and almost took it all the way down makes a lot of sense. Makes more sense than him sending a couple planes.
Yeah.
But anyhow, um,
Yeah, you won't be able to find that missile video. So I mean, you can look, you can scour it and look, scour the internet and look. But
now I mean I do remember when I woke up. I woke up that morning in in Pittsburgh. I had literally just gone to bed at like 6 o'clock in the morning because I I went to school till midnight, and then for some stupid reason, because I was an idiot kid, I walked around downtown Pittsburgh for hours playing, kicking a hacky sack, talking to my friends, whatever, doing stupid nothing,
right,
and waiting until breakfast opened up, and then I would eat breakfast in the morning with my meal plan, and then I would hit the bed. So I remember I went to bed about 6. I was woken up about 8:30, 9 o'clock, whenever the first plane hit. My buddy's phone was all of a sudden going off, and I'm not even sure how it went off, other than maybe his mom called the building, and the building
was trying to get a hold of him.
sent the phone, called the phone number, because he didn't even have a phone number. Like he just like I don't know whether they just called the phone line or whatever.
Right.
I had a phone line in my, I had a phone and everything, but he didn't even have a phone, so I don't know how he got a phone call, but he answered it, and it's his mom, and like saying that we were getting bombed or whatever. And we had turned on the TV in time to see the second airplane, like at least the video of the second airplane hitting the building.
Yeah.
And so I don't, I can't, from my experience, if it was live and real and whatever, it to me it looked like, they did it fast and they did it efficiently.
Yeah.
You know. So
Yeah.
but
I mean, we had some local uh, domestic terrorist action here in the States before,
right.
but nothing on that scale.
Right.
So that's a red flag too. But I can say that because it's 25 years after the fact.
Right. You can, we can Monday morning quarterback it all we want. We can
Yeah.
say, oh well, this is that, and
Right.
but at the end of the day, thousands of people are died needlessly.
Yeah. I mean, they still dropped the buildings. I mean, whether you believe it was planes and an inside job or it was all,
Osama bin Laden.
yeah, if it was all, so either way, they killed 3,000 in New York and another 1,000 in the Pentagon and Pennsylvania.
The only thing that like the thing that makes it something that you want to like know the truth about
Yeah.
is if it's an inside job, those people should come to justice. I mean,
Right.
you feel like you want them to come to justice, and that's if it is an inside job, if it's something that was done by us,
Yeah.
then those people deserve to be a building dropped on them. I mean, that's
Yeah.
thermal detonate those guys.
Yeah.
Let Eisenhower punch him in the face.
Right.
Whatever.
I just think we just have a different government than the government of our grandfathers and our great grandfathers.
Definitely.
So
moon landing.
oh,
Give
yeah.
us some
That one's a fun one.
give us some outside theory on the moon landing. No, I know I haven't
Like we went or we didn't go.
like just something outside that most regular people will say we did, we didn't. Why? Well, the photos look weird. There's no wind, or there's the flag was standing out, or um
Well, Abe says flat Earth. Abe, what up? We love you. We miss you.
did some chin ups on some on the flat Earth today.
Yeah. No, the
Yeah, he was talking about flat Earth now.
was done with a green screen.
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick. Look him up.
So yeah. So give us something like Stanley Kubrick that most people won't actually think of, a reason why or something.
He was an relatively unknown independent filmmaker out of Hollywood. What's up, y'all? Miss you guys.
Yeah,
miss you too,
miss you
bud.
too, honest Abe.
Dang, dude. Good to hear your typings.
good to see your typings.
No, I just like he was a relatively unknown guy, and then all of a sudden he gets a star on the Walk of Fame, and I'm like, for what? I mean, he has some other. Obviously, he's not a one-hit wonder. He has some other stuff in his library of movies.
Everyone was on the drugs in the 70s.
Yeah, but yes, so 1969. I don't know. Like, just look up him. He you can go down a rabbit hole just on Stanley Kubrick. But yeah, no, he totally directed the moon landing scene on Earth in Nevada. So
Annoying college kids like him because he was artsy fartsy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
But that's true though. Like literally what you just said. Annoying college kids love him because he's artsy fartsies, and that promotes the liberal agenda.
Right.
And part of the liberal agenda is the moon, and we landed on the moon.
This is random Rick reviews. Yes, that's who's actually saying that. Who actually said that? But off of Twitch. So,
yeah.
But what got me was, or what really pushes it home for me is that we can't find the telemetry.
Where is it?
We can't now. Over the last like 5 or 10 years, we've tried to replicate going to the moon.
No one wrote that down. No one sketched that on a napkin.
No one like, there's not a whiteboard somewhere. There's not a photo.
No one said, "Well, we should write that down."
We took a photo of the guy getting off of the lunar landing, but we didn't take a photo of the actual like the measurements and stuff. The how we got there. We don't have some kind of patent on the rockets so that we could actually like. You would think that at least they could rebuild the rocket that they built the first time.
No, they can't, man.
And
are we getting dumber as a species?
Right. Like let's start with that, and then if we have to make it not better, or maybe we actually have to put real fuel in it as opposed to the crap that they give us now to put in our cars and propel us wherever we're going in our airplanes and whatever.
Yeah.
that maybe that's the case. But yeah, that's
I mean, here are the astronauts on the moon without their helmets on.
right.
Staged.
Yeah, so yeah, if you ever talk to Buzz Aldrin, that dude was ready to tell us.
Oh, I love Buzz. You know what? You know why I love Buzz Aldrin? I'm pretty passionate about the moon landing and the flat Earth, but the flat Earth is a whole nother thing. We can save that for a rainy day. Oh, it did rain today.
It rained really good here.
Yeah.
But they didn't cloud seed it enough so that it rained in Pleasant Hill, where my mother-in-law was. So her garden was not as well taken care of by cloud seeding.
Thanks, Obama.
But
no, so there's like a lot of cool videos. We probably won't put them. We won't embed them into this podcast, but yeah, go search Buzz Aldrin in his later years after he had. So actually, a really good one to look up right away. Really good. Check this one out. Go look up. So there was a video of them after they had landed and they had come back. They went to their faraway moon and they had come back.
they went to their faraway studio.
Yeah. And it really does beg the question, just because there is a really weird video of them coming back, and they come in and sit down at a panel and they're doing like a press briefing situation, press members in attendance, they're up on a panel, tables and chairs, and they look scared. Now, remind you, they're not on the moon where they should be crapping their pants. They're back on Earth in a press room taking questions, and they look all four, Michael, Neil, and Buzz, and the other guy. Who am I thinking of? Oh, the pilot. Anyway, they all four look like they've seen a ghost, and I'm like, why? And there's video. This is not just the stills. This is video of them coming into the briefing room, into the conference room, and they look scared. What are you scared about? What does it do? We put a man on the moon. You should be grinning from ear to ear. You should be smiling. You are an American hero. And all four of you look like you were just told to cover up a conspiracy.
Right.
That was the point I'm trying to make, was like, you guys were just told information to go out and lie to the American media and say, oh yeah, we went to the moon.
Because what people don't realize or people don't remember is that these were the best of the best fighter pilots.
Yeah.
These guys,
They've seen combat.
The reason that they were chosen to go to the moon.
You're talking. You're scared of the press.
Yeah, they were. These guys were, basically flying rockets.
Yeah.
Especially at that time, airplanes weren't as technologically advanced.
Right.
They were trying to break Mach 1, Mach 2. With just like basically missiles attached to them with some wings and some flaps and stuff like that. And
let me in.
That
Abe says, let me in.
Oh, I didn't see him jump on.
We're gonna try to get you in, Abe.
There, I see him. All right, we're adding him. Honest Abe, adding you to the center.
Yo.
Here you go, Honest Abe.
Wow, look at that sexy.
Track.
Woo-wee.
All right, he froze.
Try unplugging it and plugging it back in.
Plug her back in, buddy.
Make sure the ON/OFF function is set to ON.
Am I unfrozen? No.
All right, we're not hearing you because I got you in my headphones. All right, there you go. We can hear you.
All right. Are we here? Are we here? Are we live?
Yeah.
We good?
Yeah.
Hey, we're doing the man.
I'm still getting situated.
So random.
I know. Sorry,
real quick.
I'm sitting here wrecking y'all's party.
No, you're good,
Been
man.
a bit.
We're excited you're here.
Get
So random Rick said the thing about the moon landing and flat Earth boils down to who cares. Changes nothing of our day to day, which we said that in the beginning. Really, honestly, any of these don't help or hurt us in any way. This is honestly just a great free thinking exercise, something that we can just like let's think about this, and this gives us the practice to jump into the next, the next level of like, let's think about things that actually do, give us a, do affect our lives over a day-to-day basis. Like you said, like a hamburger and fries cost $12 at Wendy's.
You're
How
saying if we found out that the moon landing didn't actually happen properly, that it wouldn't change anything for us?
Correct.
right? It honestly probably wouldn't. Like would
It
like
wouldn't make you feel a little bit. It wouldn't make you feel a little bit like deceived
Jaded.
for the better part of what, like 40, 50 years?
well, yeah. I mean,
I mean,
obviously,
I'm only 37, but I feel like I've been lied to for 37 years if I
for
found out
about
it was
45
actually
years now.
done. Yeah.
Good,
That's good math.
definitely feel like I've been lied to for
Yep.
45 years.
He's the telemetry guy.
this guy's got the telemetry.
Yep. But I'm just saying, if
Yeah, you're not
if I
wrong,
did
dude.
find out that it was, you know,
Yeah,
fake all
I
these
mean, I
years,
definitely would be like, then it would be a lot
I've been
harder to
deceived.
like, yeah, it would be a lot harder to like believe anything else that the government said. You'd be like, okay, so JFK wasn't real, right?
Right.
So like, Lee Harvey Oswald didn't shoot JFK, and who shot Reagan, and why did he miss?
Right.
Why did they let him live?
And he missed twice.
Right?
Was Abe
Is the
Lincoln
FBI
actually
that
killed by
bad?
They're
Wilkes Booth?
terrible.
Right. Yeah, that random Rick. That's we said that a couple times, like I think last week or 2 weeks ago. Like we haven't invented anything new over the last like 40-50 years. We're not gaining as a society. Like no jetpacks, no flying cars.
Right.
The
I'm
cars
still upset about that.
the cars that we do have that are autonomous are running over people on a daily basis, or getting in accidents, or
Yeah.
or sitting in front of ambulances in the middle of the road. So yeah, just
Those are just details.
this,
Minor side effects.
we're still a great society, though. We're still a great society, even though we're being, we're lying to each other about, going to the moon and
So why the big push for the space race? Is it because Russia did it? It can't be just because Russia wanted to go and some of these other countries
That's
want to go.
absolutely what it is.
it was.
It's like a high
It
school,
was
it's
power,
like a high school flex, right? It's like,
right?
whoa, you can bench 200 pounds, I can do 225. That's
Well, I can do
absolutely what it
two.
is.
So
It was for power. It was for power. The best, the best country was the most powerful country.
I mean, think about where we were. I mean, none of us were alive in '69, but think about where we were as a country. Why did our ego say we have to be better than Russia?
That's why I've been lied to for 52 years.
Because Woodstock started in the 60s?
Right.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with free love and happiness and drugs and
And
stuff.
drugs and stuff. Yeah. That's what we
No, it's
said.
like
You're all on drugs.
my comment stands earlier. There was a lot of drugs back then.
Yeah.
Lots of drugs.
Honestly, if you think about it, and we just talked about, war got us to, out of the Depression, and war actually helped us for, the attacks helped us, but you can only have one space race.
Right.
We capitalized on the space race. It was,
For what though?
like Random Rick says, is better than war, because
Yeah.
we could fearmonger.
It was something that got people got behind.
Right. People could
Mhm.
band together. We did, we became a,
So
and and it's like I
It's
said a couple
like
weeks
the
ago
most
about.
evasive. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was gonna say,
I was
it's
gonna
just like what I said about schools the other day, is that we went from teaching patriotism to now we teach a doctrinization that makes kids just follow blindly. We now just
don't question anything.
we're creating workers in school now. We're not creating
Sheep.
people who went to invent things, which is why we don't have jetpacks, why we don't have autonomous vehicles, why we don't have 300-mile-an-hour roads that we can drive on and stuff like that, that we can't hit other cars because we have the telemetry devices that keep the cars from hitting each other.
Yeah.
you know, we've invented the
that's
thing
Rockefeller.
the thing that we've invented as Rockefeller.
Yeah.
The thing that we've invented as a society is insurance.
Yeah, Rockefeller said he didn't want a nation. He didn't want a nation of thinkers. He said he wanted a nation of workers, and that's why we have the American education system as it is because you're being indoctrinated to work and not actually be a free thinking society. So, and that's Rockefeller, and that's on officially so on the record. So go look him up because he also revolutionized the way that we do modern medicine as well. But yet we keep his name largely out of all the history. I mean, we know of Rockefeller, but he's largely kept out of the history books.
We demonize Rockefeller because he actually pushed
Rockefeller
because he pushed things into a place where like he made it so that like he capitalized on whatever he made.
Yeah.
Whatever he invented. And he wasn't afraid to say, look, guys, I want a bunch of workers. I don't want people who are going to be better than me.
Right.
I want a bunch of people that are going to work for me.
I mean, he made his money in oil, and that's great. But then he revolutionized the way that America does their American thing. You either believe that or you don't, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Random Rick's talking about we all took a number years ago with the Social Security numbers. So this is what you get.
Yep.
Well, it
And
starts
don't come at me with that.
starts
I'm
like
not
a slow burn, right?
Right.
It
Don't
starts
tell
like a
me.
slow burn. It's just a little bit at a time and a little bit at a time, and then as soon as this happens, then this happens, and this happens. You know, it starts all falling in line, and you know, it's like you give an inch, you get a mile. You know, and it keeps going
But-
on and on and on and on, and however long we, I don't want to say roll over, but however long we just, it's all they're wanting to use the chips for is for identification and this and that.
Right.
Well, then it's going to be our, you know what I mean? Like it's just,
Well, you put your
and
card.
you can call it conspiracies or whatever, but it really does start like a slow burn where it's just a little bit at a time.
You put your digital currency on this card, and then you on this chip, and then you can pay for your stuff. Then you can walk into Amazon stores or grocery stores, and you can pick up your food, and you can walk right out.
I mean,
it's convenience. It's convenience. That's what they're selling us.
Right.
Is it so? Are you really free just because you have the illusion of choice? Are you free because you can pick to choose to work at McDonald's, or you can pick to choose to work at TJ Maxx, or I mean, are you free because you can go to to Taco Bell at 1:00 in the morning? Is that what freedom is?
No, they killed that.
Freedom is what they want it to be.
Who's they?
It's not what we want it to be. It's what they allow it to be.
Yeah. Or are we just hamsters in a cage?
That's a good question. I don't really look at myself like a hamster. If I were to really like pick, I'd be like more like a guinea pig or something,
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just saying. I think that there's an illusion of freedom that we have. Don't get me wrong. I don't take anything that we have for granted. But I do think that more and more on a regular basis, we're set up to accept what we have versus what it could be, so to speak. Like you said, that illusion of freedom. Well, yeah, we're free to choose between the choices we're given, if that's what you want to call it.
What if there are better choices out there that we don't know about?
Well, I mean, that's up to us, I guess, to make them at the end of the day, right?
Yep.
And that's when you start to rebel against society, and you start to rebel about or against what is the norm in society, right?
I would never rebel against society.
Right.
I have morals and scruples, and I always pay my taxes.
But then you become that like social outcast when you step outside of what the expected norm is, right?
Yeah.
Right. And that's what we were even talking about a little earlier is that, why do we accept minutes and hours as the
standard.
I mean, why do we accept, or why do we accept the metric system, or why do we, why, like, is we're accepting a construct, and so
Mhm.
are we really free? Well, we're free within that construct, and do we actually own anything? Because when we die, that stuff goes to someone else, or that stuff goes to the government, or it's divvied up to whatever. So no, we're honestly just leasing whatever we have.
Yep.
The property
We're
that you
free to choose within the realm of our options.
right.
You don't even own the burial plot that you're buried in. They lease you a burial plot. You
Mm-hmm.
don't own that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They lease you that for 70 years after you're dead, and then after 70 years, that's why they don't expand graveyards and the cemeteries don't get expanded. I mean, think about the last time they upgraded your local cemetery. No, they just recycle. They throw your bones away after 70 years.
I mean, I wouldn't know. I'm not dead, and I don't remember somebody
I
that's
don't work in
buried
that
70 years
industry.
ago. Yeah.
I mean, nothing. I
I
mean,
have left some. I have left some bones on the side of the road, but but I don't know
Yeah,
that they were
you are the
buried in
one
a
of us that
cemetery.
can say that, is that yeah, you got some bones scattered somewhere.
Yep,
But
yep. They ended up somewhere. I was thinking about that one day. That's totally off topic. Anyways, continue.
where are my bones?
We are free within the options that we are given, right? We're free to
right.
choose within. It's like going to. I don't know why this analogy just came to my mind, but it's like going to a buffet. You have the freedom to choose whatever is there on the buffet, right?
Yeah, do you want
Right.
dysentery?
It's not
Or
like you can just tell the chef, "Hey, I want you to cook this, and I want you to make this, and I want you to make that." No,
Right.
your options are plentiful, but you still have boundaries.
There's still boundaries in that freedom, yeah.
Options, right?
And we've accepted, and the problem is we've accepted those boundaries. Like, if we were truly free, like, you could go into a store and say, I don't want to give you dollars, I want to give you shoestrings. And if that person wanted
They
to,
laugh at you because that's not
and
within the
right, and if
categories
that
of
person
monetary value, right?
needed, yeah, but if that person needed shoestrings, he could accept it.
yeah, or a hubcap.
He was free to accept that.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
but because we've conformed as a system, we're now just a conformist system where
Well,
we
there's-
don't we
I mean,
would
cash has no money.
you would
Cash has no
really
value.
literally laugh at them. But
Well, the trade
honestly,
and barter
at
system is
least
no longer,
a shoestring does something
Has
for
a
you,
purpose. Yeah.
where that dollar bill that you just handed that person does nothing, has no actual purpose.
You could wipe your butt with it.
There you go. That, I mean, but it wouldn't be the best thing to wipe your butt
It
with.
would not be the best thing.
Right.
That's mostly because
So
all of our money has cocaine on it. So,
It's already got fecal matter.
cocaine and stripper juice, right? So,
That is true. If you just hand it out
so,
once.
so here's my question. It's a question slash a little bit of maybe a debate topic here, since we're down this road. So we've gotten to the point where the barter and trade system pretty much holds no value at this point.
Unless you're in Montana.
There's a very small barter and trade value to what we know as a normal daily basis, right?
Right.
So as the world progresses, and as the government starts to enforce this or that or whatever, and things start to take shape over the next few years, do you see us reverting back to that as the monetary system changes, and as like what we know as gold or dollars or whatever that
I mean,
is currently?
fiat. Cash is basically already a fiat currency. So, I mean, you could just kiss cash goodbye.
Yeah, I don't on the major, unless they make a calculated error. Unless they make a calculated error.
Again, who's they?
The government, anybody, the people who control the actual currency. unless they make a calculated error, we won't go back to a barter system, or we won't, because no one will have anything to barter with. No one will have the skills to actually create or make something,
Right.
that because we've been indoctrinated that we got to go to school and become intelligent, and then we can just go and work in our cubicle, and we don't actually know, like, there's a reason that restaurants are making, that people, people are making hundreds and thousands of dollars, millions of dollars as a restaurant, or restaurant companies, are some of the biggest corporations on earth. McDonald's is one of the largest corporations on earth. Yum Brands, who owns KFC and Taco Bell and some others, are huge corporations, and there's a reason
Want to
why.
hop on here and hold on? Sorry.
And so I don't believe we're going to go back to a barter system, because no one will have the skills to actually barter. Yeah, no one. Random Rick says he doesn't want to hunt squirrels or trade for grapes. He's not trading squirrel tails for grapes. He's just not going to do it. So, yeah. So I don't think, I think there will be sects of people, groups that will be able to barter, because you have certain skills, but I don't think on the mass level. I say you can turn it sideways, and I can re-get it into the screen if you want
I think
to.
we got it. He's right behind me.
So, but I don't.
This is Haley's
Yeah.
cousin, so he wants to talk
Okay.
about conspiracy. So
Yeah, definitely. We've been at it a little bit tonight, but yeah, I don't think that we'd be able to get to a barter system 100%. But I do think there will be a break off at some point. There will be
you
some
don't see
groups
us.
of
You don't
people
see us
who
reverting
actually
back
have
to it.
skills, not
You
on a
don't see us
mass
reverting
scale.
back to it at all.
No, we're a lazy generation.
But
Or at least, the
like
generations
predicted like
below
financial
us.
collapses, you don't. But as the predicted like financial collapses, you don't
Yeah.
see it like reverting back to like a gold trade barter system at all.
Gold maybe, because gold is actually a currency, but not an actual barter system. Not like I've got a squirrel pelt or a squirrel tail. I'm going to trade you for
The
a
free
bunch of
goats,
grapes.
Dope and ammo.
Yeah.
Invest in
dope
dope
and
and ammo.
ammo. See, that would be
Yeah.
today's like society of like
Alcohol.
barter,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Alcohol,
that
yeah, alcohol,
alcohol.
drugs, and rock and roll.
ATF baby.
ATF.
ATF. Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
Why did we have them again?
but that group is the group that would actually be able to barter.
Yep.
Your alcohol, tobacco, and firearms people.
Yes.
The feel good.
Right. Those people that know how to feel good and know how to shoot good.
We're in
So
good
If you don't
shape.
know how to shoot good, you dead. You dead.
right. But and that's why even the kid, like, even kids that I talk to that are coming out of high school and stuff like that, if I'm mentoring a kid, I'm going to tell him, I'm going to say, instead of, yes, go to college if that's what you need to do, but learn a skill. Like, at some point in your life, you need to learn a skill. Whether it's, growing something, whether it's
Right.
shooting, whether it's electric, or it's,
Crochet.
plumbing, or
Mhm.
crocheting, or, I don't know.
The electric slide.
Right. If you can, if you can boogie better than the rest, then
Beatboxing,
cool. But yeah,
beatboxing, something.
beatboxing is probably the best skill, because then you don't have to have instruments. You don't have,
Yeah.
you can just
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, the
Plus
cardboard.
you can also,
Yep.
jujitsu is a good skill.
Hey, I heard they
If you could
played golf
break
this
dance
weekend.
on cardboard, he said.
That's right. That's right. Breakdancing on
Yeah.
cardboard. But yeah, learn an actual skill is what is what I'm telling people, is just, if you want to prepare for the end, because me and Jboots, fortunately and unfortunately, had the experience of, when 2008 went, we were part of the people who had some money.
Yep.
We were part of a group of people who were actually going out and buying all of the
Family heirlooms.
broken gold and family heirlooms and things like that yeah that you wanted that most families wanted to keep,
Tree fitty.
but because there was
Couldn't
no
afford
money,
to keep.
yeah, that's exactly it.
Tree
Is they
50.
had no money. People were to the point, like, we were talking to people who, like, literally, the one lady, she says, I've got like $3,000 of roof repairs. I don't have any money to get my groceries, blah blah blah. And we're
You're
like,
like, I
oh, you
can
got a
give you
bunch of
$400 for it.
right, you got a bunch of gold coins, and here's your money. We paid for your roof. We paid, and yeah, obviously, there's those people out there, and there was times where, we were in a business, you know, we were actually, um, buying at whatever we could buy at. We would help people out if we, if that was the calling, if that was God's urging. We felt like we would help people out, but at the same time, we negotiated the best price for the company. We were there to keep the company
You were
alive and keep.
you were a traveling pawn shop.
We were, yes, we were
I'm
kind of
sorry,
that way. But
sorry, guys.
you weren't getting your stuff back.
Right, there was no option on the pawn
Parsons would have
return.
none
Right?
of that.
We were so good that even the sheriff came in and didn't get your stuff back.
Yeah. Several times.
They-
Bunch of jerks.
Multiple times.
well, when your mom with dementia came in and sold her stuff, I didn't know she had dementia.
Oh yeah, prove it.
Right. Prove it.
Prove it.
This is why I don't go back to Vermont, because they wanted to fight me. I was threatened to be fought in the parking lot multiple times in Vermont.
Of a Walmart.
Of all the states, Vermont was the worst.
Really?
And you would think Vermont is these free-loving hippie people.
Nope.
That activism is like one of the things you do if you go to vacation in Vermont. You can enjoy activism.
Yes.
And
I went up there to snowboard. We didn't activize at all.
way better than activism. But yeah, Vermont, I was actually threatened the most times to go out into the parking lot and fight the person.
I was threatened in West
who was
Virginia,
upset.
and I felt like that was actually probably the most natural threatening I've ever had.
You probably were actually threatened there.
Yeah.
I wasn't threatened. We just had some hot honey pizza. I had some hot honey pizza. We snowboarded. We did go to a distillery. That was good. They had some good maple whiskey up there.
But were you threatened?
It was a good time for me. I mean, I wasn't buying people's family heirlooms or anything either. So
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was kind of a charged time in life too. Like, people were down on their luck. People did need the money. But
hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
That's why we actually said, at the time that, people were asking, like, oh, why should I keep it? Should I what? When you're down on your luck, the thing that you hold on to the most is the thing you'll sell the first.
Which is crazy because it has the most value in your eyes, right?
It's probably actually has the most value. So it's the one thing that can actually get you out of the hole.
Man, I feel a little bit left out. I don't have the tinfoil hat.
Yeah, we did it up this evening. I'm making mac and cheese.
You just got a pan.
So,
man,
yeah, we did it up. So, as long as you don't hear that banjo in West Virginia. Random Rick just called us
planes are
gypsies.
circling. They've moved all the
moon landing
satellites into place.
What's that?
I said the planes are circling. They moved all the satellites into place.
Right,
now.
they're getting ready to zap us.
Zappity zap! Don't talk back.
If you see this broadcast go black, it's not because we turned it off.
Right. Thanks, Obama.
A few years late there, but who's counting?
I don't, maybe he's still in charge.
He is. He said it.
I mean, that puppet they've got doing debates and stuff. He seemed really awesome.
Oh yeah, have you guys talked about that since?
I
Did
did
you talk
a
about
I
that
did a
last week?
I did a little recap of it last week. But
Could
what
you make it through the whole thing? Like, did you make it through the whole debate? Because I got about 30 minutes into it and was like, "Wow, this is
So I
this is what
suffered.
we got."
I suffered through. So this was the story of about how I got twisted upside down. No, I was watching the Columbus Crew game, and then it was over, and I had 25 minutes I had to watch CNN till the debate started. I lost 17 IQ points just in those 25 minutes.
Oh yeah, the first 25 30 minutes was terrible.
Then I put my daughter to sleep during the first question and a half. Then I came back and listened to the rest of it, and I probably am now a certified invalid.
You mean dummy?
You mean
Just straight up dummy.
I would say retard.
You mean deplorable.
But that's not PC anymore.
You mean deplorable.
Oh man.
But no,
Yeah,
like
I tried
I
to watch it. I watched the beginning and I was like, all right, the first like 5-10 minutes they like somewhat kept it together. And I was like, all right, where's this gonna go? And then it didn't take long. It didn't
The
take
first
long.
question, he lost his train of thought and started talking about now we got Medicare. Where we at?
And so well, anyhow.
Let me do it.
Right. Yeah, no, it was the part that was really the most telling is at the end. If you saw CNN's like coverage at the very end, where like Van Jones got on and he was like, I can't believe he's so far gone. The dude was staring into the camera like this.
Yeah.
And
And it's pretty bad when CNN says that.
Like there was nothing left in him. Like they just pulled the rug right out from him, and they didn't give him the cocktail that night. It was too late for him. It was past his bedtime.
Whatever they had
before.
last year or 2 years ago, they missed the concoction this time. That's for sure.
That's what they were even saying is, and that's what we
They didn't dope him up right, and that's what they were
right.
saying.
Well, that's what. Yeah. Well, they said, what happened. Well, he didn't have a teleprompter in front of him, and he didn't have, the speech he did at the day after was like so much more charismatic. Although it still was, it was charismatic for him.
I've never known a president in history though, and don't get me wrong, like I've only been around since the '80s, so I really only remembered since like mid '90s, right? I've never known for another president that would go into a presidential debate that would release an apology the next day,
right,
apologizing for his performance in the debate. Like, how pathetic is that?
And
like, I'm sorry, but
and continue.
And I'm not saying that Trump was by far any much better, but to have our president like and then it like to release an apology like I'm sorry guys, it wasn't on my A game, blah 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 blah. It's like,
well, and they got on and
so
said,
when was the A game ever on for you?
Post game interview.
Right.
And they said like he was studying for 5 days ahead of time in Camp David. He was like, oh, okay, this is what.
And then he had some international travel that jet lagged him a little bit, and
right.
Sure. You're 80 some years old. You didn't get your nap, right? Like, come on. Jeez. They must have kept him from getting his nap that day or something. I don't know.
He was a little cranky.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Now, and it was like the Van Jones, the old press correspondent. They had to like drum up some people that they hadn't seen on TV for a while, that hadn't seen him, so they could be like genuinely surprised at his deterioration. I can't believe dementia has set in so fast on him. Oh my gosh, we should still vote him in for 4 more years.
Yeah.
Because by that time he can be completely gone.
Then we can really
But
pull his string.
yeah, it was like, and you could see like Van Jones did seem like he was sincerely upset that he was in bad shape. But
I
it's
mean, I
like
don't.
you haven't like where have you been for the last year and a half, 2 years?
Right, right. I mean,
But
it's not like it's
I
a
said
surprise. Like I
right,
wasn't totally surprised that like that was how the debate was going to go.
right.
You know, and on both sides. Like I was like,
I was
okay,
honestly more
like the
surprised that
mudslinging started about 20 minutes into it, and then it didn't end. And there was one guy that was just completely just you know how Trump kind of speaks and how he goes about it, and then you
I was
have and then you
surprised
have the
though.
other guys like, oh, so when I was young and the kids would come up to me in a swimming pool and rub their hands across my leg hair and well anyhow so
That's a really good
yesterday it was
impression.
nice like,
That was spot on.
that was pretty much it. Like, well, anyhow, yeah, Medicare.
Right.
It was like the most. It was really disappointing. From being a proud American, like it was really disappointing to see our candidates like just
100%. It was just
dumbfounded on both sides. You know,
luckily like I was surprised how Trump kept it fairly civil. He didn't
for
he
the most
there was
part,
no
yeah.
yeah, there he didn't like jump on him as much. And obviously the mics being shut off kind of, helped him out with
That
that
probably
and stuff.
helped.
But
Yeah. Yeah. There was probably
um
some you dummy or something like muted out
right,
in the back.
right. Right,
Like,
that you could just leave the mic off all the time. I'm just going to save
yeah.
profanities for a second.
I'm gonna end every debate question answer with you dummy at the end.
Just yeah. After 2 minutes, I'm just gonna say you dummy. Um, but yeah, so I was pleasantly surprised about how he kept to message most of the time. He didn't attack him as much on his character as much as more just the policies and stuff like that.
Right.
Except for the whole golf swing, the golf thing, that was stupid.
That was the
But
I
best.
saw the highlights on that. That was kind of funny.
yeah,
I was like, really? He got to that?
right, right. Really, we had an argument about whose golf swing.
I'm in better shape than I've ever been before in my life.
Right. I took
I
mental
practiced
acuity
my golf
tests.
swing
I would like to see
46
him take a
times a
test.
day.
I would like
They-
Sleepy
They've
Joe. I
They've
would like
never
him to
seen
see.
anyone take an acuity test better than me.
I can climb my stairs at my house really well. Really
I'd
well.
like to
It's
see
great.
him do
They're
that. I don't
huge.
think he could do that.
I've been practicing
They're
my
great.
stair
They're,
climbing.
they're huge.
Huge. This is a huge opportunity.
Huge.
Oh man. But yeah, no, I said about 4 months ago when they announced that they were going to have a debate, Joe was going to make one debate, and then they were going to get rid of him.
Well, I
And
mean, there's already been multiple Democrats now that have come out and questioned his ability to be able to run, and one of them actually came out like the day after, or maybe it was over the weekend. I haven't kept track
Kennedy
as
ate a
much in the last
barbecue
few
dog,
days.
so I don't even want to hear about it.
Oh boy, here we go.
oh,
But yeah, it was one of those situations where it was like the Democrat, like we're gonna circle back on that. Uh, But yeah, when the Democrat came out and he was like, "Yeah, so I urge him to make the right decision," blah 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 blah. It's like,
right, like,
all right,
and that's
he's
what
the first of many that's probably going to come out.
and that's why I said like the CNN deal afterwards was more telling about what actually happened. They were like, oh, like 5 minutes or 5 seconds into the debate, I was getting text messages about, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's so bad. I can't believe that he can't answer questions. I can't believe he's so gone. Or is he even
It
going to
took
make
you
it to
guys
the
the
election?
debate to figure that out.
Right, and
The
that's
guy that
like
will
that was
literally make a house speech and lose his train of thought 2 seconds in. Come on,
right, right,
come on. It's not
Here's
like
your
the
sign.
first day on the podium.
right.
What'd you say, Jay?
Here's your sign.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
man.
that's what I was. That's that was my. I mean, obviously,
I
even
think you might
talking
actually be
tonight,
Polish.
we've talked about thinking for yourself and gaining the information yourself, and just go out there and make a choice based on the information you've found. Not to be listening to anybody like CNN or even Fox News or the Blaze Network or News One or Newsmax or any of those guys. Just go and find
Or
it.
Facebook.
Watch the debate. Watch it. If you can get through the whole debate and that, then you've at least made a choice based on your own information. Otherwise,
Yeah.
like I
If you're
went
making
on.
a decision to vote for either of them from that debate,
Right.
God bless you.
Well, and then that was one of the other things is I'm like we're electing we're putting in a job like the most powerful person in the world. And we wanted the guy that apologizes the next day for not being as good as he once was. Like, yeah. So I think
Based on percentages, do you know what the most dangerous job in the U.S. is? Based on
Probably a
percentages,
fast food worker or something. I don't know.
Nope. Yep.
there's too many of them.
Nope. Based on percentages, it is the presidency of the United States. It's the most dangerous job in the
Because there's
U.S.
only been 40
Really?
some of them,
Yeah.
and
And
two of them have been killed in
yeah,
office.
six of them have been assassinated.
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah,
Never
You're
thought
welcome.
about it
yeah.
that way.
It's only been.
And why was Grover Cleveland so weird? He was a weird dude. Why? He was so weird. Anyway, the moon landing was fake. And good night.
we already established that.
Yeah.
You missed us about flat Earth and
flat
the
Earth.
moon
Yeah,
landing being.
we didn't jump on the flat Earth yet. We're probably devote more of an episode to that. We might also hit Bigfoot on that episode or something like that.
Loch Ness
But
Monster.
there's plenty more to do. We only hit about 5 or 6 actual conspiracy theories. But
Did you know the Grand Canyon is a portal to certain countries in Africa?
Well, what about did you guys
So-
touch on Area 50?
Which part of Area 51?
Just the
All
general-
51 of them?
yeah, no, we haven't hit that
We
either.
have-
We were
No?
kind of going
I've only
more
been-
on some
Oh.
of the fringe ones, like we talked about the Tartarian Empire, the Chinese artificial sun. So some of the ones that you don't always talk about, and then we obviously hit some of the ones you talk about, like 9/11 and Princess Diana and the moon landing, Tupac, that kind of thing.
Tupac's still
But,
alive.
Oh, 100%.
He just went into hiding.
Yeah. Like I saw, like there's a movie coming out that he's actually in New Mexico, hanging out with the Navajo
So is Hitler.
tribe.
So is Hitler.
I don't know that I don't know that he's still
He's
alive.
110. He's
He would
110.
be like, yeah. But I don't know that I believe that he died in World War II.
No, I don't think he did either.
On a
I think
toilet? Did he die
the
on a
South
toilet?
American. I think
am
the
I
South
thinking of?
American stuff is actually real.
Oh, Hendrix.
Yeah.
Oh,
we
did
talking
you
about
know that?
Yeah.
Hendrix?
Now.
Now,
I
unfortunately,
did.
that legend died.
Jimi Hendrix is AKA Morgan Freeman.
Oh, shut up.
Look it up.
Shut
Look it up.
up.
Look it up. Look it
Shut
up. Look it up. Look it up.
No
Look it up.
way.
Go
Morgan
look it up.
Freeman can play the guitar like
Look it
that?
up.
Come on.
Look it up.
Why hasn't he played the guitar lately?
Look it up.
I mean, you never know. It's Morgan Freeman, so.
Dude, that would be the most sober Jimi Hendrix ever. Like that means
Wow, yeah,
that
right?
means the dude. How
That
many
goes back to my
years?
previous statement. There was a lot of drugs in the 60s and 70s.
Get on your machine
How many years?
and look it up.
How many years did he have to get sober just to become Morgan Freeman?
It changes everything.
It absolutely changes nothing.
Maybe that's
Look it
why
up.
he never played the guitar because he's now sober.
Yeah.
All right.
What are you
Look
going
it
to
up.
Now I'm gonna have to look it up.
Google.
do? We're gonna have to use the old
Because
Googler.
you never saw a young Morgan Freeman.
You never saw a young Morgan Freeman. Where was he? Where was he?
Like even in Shawshank Redemption.
I mean, I do
he
feel
wasn't
like
young.
he just came out and like he was
Hendrix-
like 40. Like
Yes.
you never saw him when
Look
he was
it up.
like in his
Exactly.
20s.
Yep.
Yeah.
When
Look
did
it up.
Hendrix go away?
Suspiciously right before Morgan Freeman showed
In
up.
Vietnam.
When he was 40.
Look it up. Google it.
He's
It's a
Googling
real
it
it's
right
a
now.
real working theory.
It's a real working theory. It's theoretical here.
It's theoretical.
We're theoretical
No,
scientists.
it's basically
We're
fact.
working on the theoretical science.
I mean, you have me convinced already. I don't even have to Google it.
That's why I said like this.
Yeah, I've never seen him in the same room. That's for sure.
Open-minded.
Oh, I love
Be
these
open-minded. Just
I love you
just
people
think
so
about
much.
it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
this obviously this is a fun event, and we're just fun episode. But at the same point, there's got to be some sort of you're so dumb.
Validity to it.
Yeah, there's some sort of validity to, or some shred of truth to kind of, or things don't continue to keep going. Or
what was that?
or we've
What
created
was that, Jay?
a society of just the most stupid people alive.
All right. I can get down with that.
That is true, though.
It's one of my favorites.
That actually is a real
That's
true
a real
quote that that you can it's easier to fool someone than to actually convince them that they've been fooled.
Yep.
I mean,
Right,
think about
right.
you want to tiptoe to flat Earth.
No, I want to go full speed ahead.
Talk about Galileo.
Yeah.
Oh boy, here we go.
Years the man was chastised for being wrong.
Yeah.
The man was put in jail. Then he lost his credentials to teach school. And then all of a sudden, he's a hero.
All of a sudden.
I
don't believe in coincidences.
I mean,
all of a
coincidence
sudden,
happen every day.
coincidentally, some dude gets on a boat and says, he's real. He's right. The Earth is round.
I'm telling you, I don't believe
maybe. I've never seen the curvature.
Just the fact that you're saying maybe means that
all the miles are straight and flat
in your brain.
Yeah, how come when you see the sunset, it's flat?
Yeah.
It's not rounded.
Yeah.
You don't want to go down this rabbit hole.
That's why I said I'm gonna tiptoe on it, and just gonna say, that's it. This
Cables were
see
involved.
where we're at.
I'm saving all my psycho crazy for flat Earth.
Okay, what about the
So are we dedicating one whole episode to flat Earth? Because I'm pretty sure we could probably
I
fill
can
2
easily do
hours
a whole episode on just flat Earth.
All right,
Okay.
I'm down. I will research it for the next couple weeks, and we will sit down and do a
Okay.
whole
You
episode.
won't. It's fine though.
I don't have to.
I mean, I
have to.
have done some pretty in depth research in the past, just because out of curiosity of what they say factually,
Right.
or
So just
factually.
real quick. So are you
Factual.
heliocentric or are you geocentric? What do you believe? Are you heliocentric or geocentric?
I don't think that the Earth is flat.
You think the Earth is a ball, so you're heliocentric. You
Yes.
subscribe to the heliocentric model that the Earth is a ball and we're plummeting through space.
Yes.
So I don't know that I believe that the Earth is flat, but I do feel like
The moon landing was fake.
one, we're being lied to, and two, maybe the Earth isn't plummeting through a universe that is non-ending, because if what they teach us is the truth, there is no end to the universe, which means
it's infinite.
Right.
Infinitesimal.
So you think that there are other habitable planets and ecosystems out there, or universes out there?
I don't.
Planet X.
I think
Andromeda Galaxy.
I think
Planet X. Let's go.
I think most likely they're lying to us, and we are the center.
The center?
The center.
Why have we not been attacked by other planets?
That's right.
Because
Because we're the center. Because everything's revolving, spinning around us.
yep.
You don't think that that the whole sun and moon thing actually is accurate?
So why does
We don't.
the North Star never ever move?
Ooh.
If we're spinning through space at a 66,000 miles an hour,
The North Star is not in our galaxy.
it never moves. The North Star never moves off its act. You can always look up and find the North Star, and that's how we sail at night. That's how we used to sail at night.
Somehow we're revolving around this.
But we're spinning.
Yep.
So not only is our Earth rotating on its axis, right? Then we're spinning around the solar system, right? 365 days in a year.
Yeah.
Whole episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on top of that, our whole galaxy is spinning through the cosmos.
We're now into 2 hours and 18 minutes of a podcast here.
That's what they say. They say that they say that you can see for every 8 inches of height, you can see 1 kilometer of curvature. That is their model. That is NASA's model. That is their formula. They said, oh, well, we need to update that. They never updated it. So for every 8 inches of height, you should see 1 kilometer of curvature. Okay, then why can I see straight across Lake Michigan? From that one part of Michigan over to Chicago. Why can I see straight across it? And then the news says, oh, it's a mirage. I'm like, we're not on drugs. All of us are hydrated. I just drank a core
We're not
water.
in a desert.
We're not on drugs, but all of us are hydrated.
Like,
Did you drink
You
too
know?
much water?
did you?
Is that the case?
So I stand by my statement that I'm gonna have to do a little more in-depth research before we have this episode.
I want you to. I want you to.
The other thing that gets me, and this is just like, this isn't even me knowing anything about science, because I took literally two high school science classes, and I took a food science class. But
Which totally relates.
I have always said there's good science and there's bad science.
Definitely, food science is definitely
Food
good
science was bad, or was that part of the good?
I thought my green screen was falling. The one thing.
See, here we go.
Yeah, they're zapping us now. The one thing that
Back
I
to the green
do
screen.
that I have always said is centripetal force. Why are we not flying? I mean, yes, they can say, "Oh, it's Earth's gravity."
Yeah. You can't prove gravity though.
But
Well, you can.
No, you can't.
From a
What makes
science base, you
It's a
can
theory.
prove that gravity still exists because a ball still drops, everything still drops to
Yeah,
Earth.
no. All you're proving is relative density.
that's it.
All you're proving is relative. You can prove relative density. You cannot prove the theory of gravity. It's still a theory of gravity. It's still a theory. You can't prove it. It's called relative
But that's
density.
what I'm saying. You can prove the theory. Like the theory is proven by the fact that every object still falls to the
You can prove that
Earth's
every object
surface.
has a mass, and that
But-
you have relative density based on mass.
The other thing about
But
gravity
everything still
is
falls to the ground.
if something were, but the thing is things that are the same density or that have the same shape are going to fall at the same speed, whether they have high density or not.
All that proves is relative density. It does not prove gravity. Look up.
Okay.
But
Because
what is
that's part of
density?
that's part of
Look
science.
up relative density first. Look
But
up
what is density based upon?
Okay, hold on.
In the grand
Basically,
scheme of
it's
it's
the
still
fact
theory.
that,
Density is still a working theory, right?
well,
No,
but
it's
it's
not.
also
That's
like
what we're
You
taught.
have air. You
What
can
we're
measure
told.
air. You can measure air. You can take a spectrometer and measure the quality of your air, and it's made up of particles. You're breathing. What are you breathing? Nitrogen and oxygen. You can measure those two things.
So how do they create zero gravity
Well, you could go up in an
environments.
airplane and create similar like effects of free falling, and that simulates outer space.
Or simulates you actually falling.
Or zero
Because you're not-
gravity.
Because they can't just create zero gravity. They can't take when they take the pressure out of a room, it doesn't take the gravity out of the room, or it doesn't create a
Weightless environment.
weightless environment.
So you can measure, you can quantify the nitrogen particles and the oxygen particles that you are breathing in, and then the helium and all that other stuff that you're breathing in, against something solid like a phone. You can't say that this phone weighs less than oxygen.
I knew this was going to be a conversation.
You can't tell me my S22, my Samsung S21 from 4 years ago, weighs less than some volume of oxygen.
But basically, what that would all prove is that if there's a sun and a moon that revolves around the Earth, and somehow it's just outside of our atmosphere, that there's an atmosphere that's holding everything in, so that basically anytime you move, you're displacing something.
Yes.
And that's what
yes.
creates
And the same
that's what
yes.
creates your relative density, basically.
And that's the same thing with energy transfers.
That's why you stay on the ground, is because your density is heavier than the air around you. So if the air around you was actually heavier, you could just swim up through and float, which is why we swim in water.
And it has nothing to do with me drinking too much beer. It has everything to do with the fact that at my core, I'm made up of bones, tissue, blood.
Right.
It has so much more to it.
But it would also be why we couldn't get to the moon.
And don't get me started on the radiation, the Van Allen belt that we can't get through. Scientists, these guys.
Hillary Clinton said we couldn't get through.
Hillary Clinton and Obama both said that we're still trying to break through the barrier.
Then if Hillary Clinton said it.
Right. Right. It's definitely facts. Because all those people.
I'm just gonna be completely honest. I was not prepared for this conversation tonight.
I still love
I had
you.
not done the proper amount of research.
But I've got about 4 years of research on you.
Well,
See,
yeah,
I don't
this
actually
is not
have
something
the
that I
research
research on a daily basis.
or anything. The thought process behind it, I can follow the math and the reasoning, but
Well,
but anyhow, for another day, flat Earth and that. But yeah, I think this is one of those podcasts that has,
because I'm going to tie back into the moon. I want to tie back into the moon landing,
lived its life,
and some whatnot. But I really want you to do some research on the Grand Canyon this week, and the pueblos that live there, and the
I'm going to research the hell out of everything.
Stargate SG-1 over to Africa.
Listen, the portal in the Grand Canyon is crap. It's not real. That is
okay.
That is as stupid as I've heard. Unless it's like a tunnel that you can walk through, and they're like, "Look, we found some fallopian tubes.
We found China."
I thought he said French benefits, not fringe benefits.
Really thought the Rocky Mountains were going to be rockier than this. Thanks a lot, John Denver.
John Denver was full of crap.
Oh my goodness.
The chemical makeup of humans.
Oh,
You know
geez.
what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So put a list together of the next conspiracies.
No, I'm just saying for another time.
Put a list together of the next conspiracies you want to talk about, and we'll do like a conspiracy theory once a month. What do you think about that?
That's their model. Just remember that.
That's their model.
That's their science. What you're about to Google after we hang up, you're just getting into their
what
science.
We're being told to listen to, right?
It's Google. It's own, man.
I will say the debate stuff. When I searched what are the debate questions, you couldn't find a list of the actual debate questions.
Yeah.
The next day.
Right. Gone.
They were gone. Yeah. NPR was the first, and it was what you should know about the debate.
Right.
What you should know from the questions.
Yeah.
And if you have questions about that, was all that would come up. So if they're controlling that narrative that fast, what else are they controlling?
Right.
Oh, what was
That's why-
interesting
that's why I'm
too?
asking.
What was interesting too is when I did go across or did come across some of the debate highlights and this and that. There was a little search subject underneath that was like, you know how like Facebook gives you like suggestions
Right.
and TikTok
Yeah,
and
the
all those
AI.
suggestions. Yeah, the AI stuff. It was like Biden won debate. Like that was like the
Right.
first thing on the bottom of that. I'm like, listen,
Right.
I only watched 30 minutes of this 90 minutes, and I thought to myself, there's no way this guy's winning the debate. I don't know if there was an actual winner, but I'm just saying.
Like literally,
There's
Biden
definitely some
barely showed
controlled.
up.
Yeah, there's definitely some
He,
controlled search and
when
agendas.
they passed out the participation trophies, JFK Jr. got one. Biden did not.
That's just because he ate a barbecue dog.
You probably have too. You just didn't know it.
Yeah, we all have. We've all eaten a Jade Palace.
Dysentery buffet.
King's Walk.
the
Now you're
iron,
getting it.
the iron skillet in
Yep.
Richmond, Indiana.
Schenectady, New York.
Yep.
But
There was Peking House. Yeah. China Walk.
Are you trying to make me hungry?
No.
oh, the tasty of
They got any good Chinese places up there in Michigan?
you ever wanted to taste
No.
a camel?
We got some good Thai places. Some good
Okay.
Thai places up here.
We
What about chow
Yeah.
mein?
you ever
Chow
wanted to
mein.
taste a camel? We got some camel right here in this food truck for you.
No. We got some good Thai. We got some good sushi up here. There's no good sushi in Greenfield, Indiana. Just so you know.
Yeah,
Kroger.
Greenfield is a I've been there a few
Barren
times.
wasteland. They have that. Don't they have that Campbell
Flipping
store?
the map.
There used to be a giant warehouse where everyone's family heirlooms went in Greenfield.
Yeah, I've been there a couple times.
Everyone's family heirloom.
There was a
We're going back
pond
to this.
with a couple thousand guns in it in
Yeah.
Greenfield.
Well, look, some of it might have been illegally obtained.
We were all single collectors buying guns from other single collectors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all good friends too.
Details.
Because I believe the statute
Yeah.
was that a friend can borrow a gun for a 72-hour period for sporting purposes. So that's
Right.
what we were doing.
That's what we were doing.
Just
The
minor
fact that we
details.
gave them money was more meant for just for renting purposes.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah,
camaraderie.
that was a rental or a lease, right?
Yeah, it was unofficial, but
Yeah. Didn't you buy a machine gun?
no.
Oh, that was Derek. Maybe.
Derek did. Somebody actually shipped live rockets.
I saw an MP5 come in.
After they
You mean the U.S. government?
after they literally purchased live rockets. But this is all hearsay.
Yep, conjecture.
Maybe
Yep.
someone
Allegedly.
actually purchased live rockets,
Allegedly.
shipped them through
Allegedly.
the U.S. mail. Like I don't know how somebody didn't die that day, because the U.S. mail is
It's
never
just,
gentle with your items.
Oh no, they gonna
yeah,
snatch
they're just paperweights and props.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Which is why they ended up in the bottom of that pond.
What pond?
Yep.
I mean, if you had to put a word to it, like illegal.
A word like, would you say like illegal?
Illegal.
Illegal? Allegedly.
All right. Yeah.
Well, you crazy kids have a good night.
Yeah. So I think without learning anything, go to the website, get our merch, buy some
We'll have
some of
these
that.
available.
Yeah, tinfoil hats definitely are going to be available, especially if you want to make some
Handmade by
great
Jay
mac and
himself.
cheese.
Look at that. Premium
mac and cheese making tinfoil hats. Recycle, reduce, reuse. Waste nothing.
You just send in your size and your preference of shape, and Jay will hand make them.
Right. Kind of give us a is it watermelon, cantaloupe, what fruit style?
Pear,
You know,
yeah,
you
apple,
got a
apple
head the
shape.
size of a couple kiwis. You know, we're good with that too.
You want a point at the top, or you want it flat? You know, that kind
You
of
know,
thing.
what are we really protecting
You
here?
want a cowboy hat?
Your vote not to write.
What?
Your right not to vote.
Your vote not to write.
Do you want to be signed up? You know, do you want to be signed up? We can do that too.
We could do a monthly card.
So
Yeah, do a monthly allowance or monthly
website coming
membership.
across the top. Get to the whyimangry.com and help us out. Keep us doing 2.5 hour podcasts. And
About
where we just
random
all of a
stuff.
sudden randomly pick up people.
Yep.
You know,
I feel like we did pick them off the side of the street.
we did kind of randomly pick people out of our comment section, and then he brought some people out of his comment section.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
we're just bringing them along.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good spot to say follow, like, and share. This has been the Why I'm Angry podcast.
Remember to follow, like, and share the Why I'm Angry podcast across all social media platforms and anywhere you get your podcast. The Why I'm Angry podcast ends now.